I'm Tom Bohmker. I'm a lifelong gold enthusiast, gold miner, mining consultant, and publisher of gold guides. And each book that we've produced has its own story. This particular one, Recreational Gold Mining in Montana, is very dear to me because my grandson went with me to do the final research on it. I've been thinking about Montana for a long time because I knew that there was hundreds of creeks in Montana that had gold. It's a lot of wild country, and there's a great potential there for recreational panning. And I'd done some consulting jobs there and panned in a few of the creeks already at that point. And so one summer, I was getting ready to go on this trip, and my son Josh comes to me and says, "Dad, it's a family tradition. You've told me that your dad went with my grandfather when he was 10 or 12 years old on a 3-week expedition. They went to the Black Hills and gold panning and so on. And I know that you went with your dad as a little kid going gold mining. I did, and that's what Josh told me. And he said, so my son, who's 6 years old, it's his time to follow the family tradition." So anyway, Hannibal and I went and spent 3.5 weeks in Montana. We went to 102 gold-bearing streams, and there's only 250 of them in the state. Whew, it's a big place. And we mined gold and panned gold in probably 250 locations on those 102 streams, and found gold in most of them, usually flood gold. It was a wonderful time. Hannibal was an excellent companion, played with his Legos as we were driving from one mountain range to the other. He had his Legos out and he was making things. And we went to a couple of mining operations, and people invited us in, sold us some gold. He kept asking, "Why haven't we found any nuggets, Dad, Grandpa? Because I've seen nuggets that you and my dad have found. Why aren't we finding?" And I said, "Well, we're on this trip trying to cover a lot of territory. We're not really doing digging now." And I thought about it. I said, "Remember, at Vermilion Creek, we found some gold on the surface, but the professional miners had dug down about 15 feet and they hit that one layer, and that's where they got all that gold." And he went, yeah. And I said, "We don't have the wherewithal and the time to dig down 15 feet with pick and shovel. It would take the rest of our vacation. I need to cover all these things. But we'll keep looking." And he'd go, yeah. And actually, we found a couple pickers eventually. It was a wonderful trip. The next summer, he saw his dad find a 2-ounce nugget out of a creek in Washington State, and he went bonkers. But anyway, the book has 50 or so maps to different major creeks in the state. I'm actually a contributor to this. When we were all done with our field work, on the way home, I discovered that a guy had produced a book, and so I went in with him and added on about 40 more pages onto his book. His name is Phil Walsh, by the way, and so I became the contributing editor. And of course, that's right. There's a picture in here of me with my dad when I was about 5 or 6 years old in Montana, looking at a stamp mill. I remember this very well. It was a wonderful day because my brother and I didn't have a metal detector. This was long before metal detectors were discovered. We went out, we looked at one of the cabins near the stamp mill at this little mining town of Independence, Montana. And my brother goes, "We have a shovel, we'll dig and we'll find some treasure." And we were digging on the floor of this broken down cabin, and the shovel hit something metallic. He scraped it out, and it was a yellowish bar about this long and that wide and that thick. And it was heavy, definitely metallic. And we go running over to my dad and some relatives from Montana that we were with at the time. And my dad holds it up and scrapes it off with his fingernail, and he says, "Well, boys, that's a great discovery. You found a piece of wrought iron. It's a little rusty yellow." It wasn't gold, but I felt the flash of searching and finding something, And I was able to relive that with my grandson, and it kind of went full circle. But it's a great publication and very useful. Again, we've had wonderful feedback from reprinting Phil Walsh's material, and then the 40 pages that we also added.